In this video, we're touring a home that captures the beauty right here in Liberty Hill, Texas. If you want to know more about the newest community with great topography outside of Austin, Texas, then stick with me for a great home tour. Now, this is the Davenport plan, built by Tri Pointe Homes. And we're in a community called Lariat, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about Lariat later on in the video. I'm even going to tell you one of the concerns our clients had before they decided to build a home all the way out here in Liberty Hill, Texas. And it's some good news that I'm going to share later on. First, let's go out to the main living area where we'll see one of the newest models built by Tri Pointe Homes, and they really went all out, especially in this main living area. We got double sliding glass doors, beams running across the ceiling. Wait until you see the upgrades in this kitchen, and we're going to walk through this home in detail, room by room, to show you some of the upgrades that were done in this home. And if you're interested in building from scratch, we're even going to show some lots that are available at the time I'm recording this video, and even a home for sale later on in the video that's around 3,700 square feet and is for sale at the time I'm recording this video. Now, so many of my clients tell me they love new construction options because of the tall ceilings and windows everywhere, and that's exactly how you feel when you enter this Davenport plan and get to this wide open staircase. Now, we're gonna head over to the kitchen, and rest assured, we're gonna take a look at this view in multiple ways. I know you see a big dirt mound in the back. I'm gonna explain that as well. Keep in mind, we are in a new construction community, so things do change over time. And for this home, we're just over 3,000 square feet. We have 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, and it's a 2-story plan. Now, starting off in the kitchen, what my clients tell me they want in the kitchen is as many cabinets as possible. The cabinets provide this great accent piece, especially when you have a color like this, but they also make the kitchen feel huge. And what I think is making a big difference in this kitchen are the cabinets on the left side. Usually the cabinets right next to the refrigerator is just a small space that maybe you can fit like a Keurig or a coffee machine. But we're gonna go look at those cabinets one more time, maybe a couple more times, and you're gonna see that's so much cabinet space that's there. Now, these waterfall countertops are incredible. Actually, I had my clients do this with Tri Pointe, and I think it came out really well. I'll maybe show that later on in the video. But I think it's all about the backsplash in this kitchen. For a lot of my clients, they want something fun in the kitchen that becomes a focal point. I feel like this is the focal point, this backsplash that goes all the way up to the ceiling following this vent hood. But you let me know what you think. For some of my clients, I always hear them say that they're a little bit skeptical or hesitant to use a dark color in their kitchen. But I think with the under cabinet lights, all the windows that are here, it really lights up this kitchen. And so I don't think I'd be too concerned about anything darkening this kitchen, especially because everything else is light. You have that nice cabinet color, you have these light countertops, this light sink, and everything else brightens the room. But you let me know what you think about that backsplash, and I'm also excited to hear what you have to say about the backyard, because there is a slope back there. You obviously got a lot of covered patio space, and we're gonna head out there next after we take a look at the pantry space. And I'm excited for you to see what's below at the property line. It's actually something that one of my clients asked for when they were looking at properties to build on, and there was a slope in multiple properties that we were looking at, and they gave me this option of something to do at the bottom. So I'm excited for you to see that. And I'll also send this to my clients. They're actually about to close next month, and they ended up picking a lot that was flatter, so they had more usable space, and they needed that because they had a young child, and I often hear that there. Now, before this, you saw there was no light on in the pantry, but there's an automatic light switch, so as soon as you peek your head in there, the light comes on, which I thought was cool. Sometimes it's the small things in these homes that really count. There's going to be the utility room that does have an access way to get to the primary closet, but we're going to go back around to the primary bedroom, bathroom, and then you'll see that closet space here. And then there's a mud bench right here because behind me, that door that I was showing you previously would go to a garage. Now, I'm excited to get back out to this main living area because this is where a lot of my clients tell me they spend a ton of their time. What I think is unique, or fairly unique, about this plan is we have horizontally kitchen, dining, and living room all back to back to back. Let me know what you think about this. For some of my clients, like my clients who close in this community, they actually prefer the dining room to be separate. They wanted that as a separate space. I've also had people say that they love the dining room combined with the main living area, but maybe they want it on the back of the home or kind of separate. But some of my clients like the dining room just like this because it's combined with this main living area. And when you have a structural upgrade that you can do, like sliding glass doors, which you see here, it really opens up that space into the backyard patio. And when you open both sets of doors, it makes it feel like this interior space is a part of that outdoor space. Now, rest assured, even if you don't do the structural upgrade of one of those sets of sliding glass doors, you still get great windows with Tri Pointe. And I think you'll see that in the home that we tour later on, where the living room is massive and then you get these huge windows that really open up that space. And also keep that in mind, that if you're looking at this space thinking that you want something a little bit bigger, this is just under 3,100 square feet for this specific plan that we're walking, the Davenport plan. So in their current 60-foot wide lot series, this is actually their smallest two-story plan that they offer. But I'll tell you right now, square footage is so deceptive. Windows, ceiling height, they make such a big difference, and structural upgrades like the patio that we're about to walk make a massive difference in how people feel when they walk through a home like this. And I can tell you how so many of my clients feel when they walk out to a patio that just looks out to great privacy. And if you're thinking this is only available on a model home, you see all that dirt right there? Those are lots that you can build your home on that back up to this great privacy. Now, from a structural standpoint, there is a covered patio extension that you can do here, and that's what you see in front of us, where it extends the patio all the way down. And I think if you have a view like this, you're going to enjoy the back doors often. I think it's very smart to do. Now, another item I want to cover is actually the furniture that's on there. So I was speaking with the builder agent about this, and we were both talking about maybe not putting couches, like 4 couches across that patio. I was thinking maybe even do like couches in the area that we were in, and then the other area, maybe do a dining table. And I know there's then 2 dining tables, one inside, one outside. But oftentimes when we're entertaining, it's nice for like the kids to just kind of eat on their own and like make a mess outside, and then you can just kind of sweep it up or sweep it into the backyard. You're fine, right? But I think when you're entertaining, it's nice to have a space where you can eat out there. And this is also really nice. And this is a fire pit built at the bottom of this property line. And you'll see in a second, it's actually built into the property because we're sloping downward. And this is one of the things that my clients entertain when they're building from scratch. They often build in areas of topography. I have a lot of my clients that call me from Seattle, from the Bay Area, and they come from these areas that are absolutely gorgeous, but they obviously want to move to Austin where their dollar goes much further. They can enjoy the weather year round, unlike Seattle where there's not as much sun. And I don't want to rag on Seattle. It's a beautiful city, but everybody who calls me from Seattle tells me they cannot do another winter. They cannot do 7 to 10 days straight of just cloudiness. And so when they see backyards like this, it's amazing. Now, they tend to look in these areas with a lot of topography, and so some of the lots slope backwards or downwards like this one does. Now, anytime it slopes downward like this, you do need to have an area like this where water can disperse away from your property. And that's why they put river rock on that side. That's why they have a retaining wall down there. It's because when these builders build out these new construction communities, they can't just have water just running down like a raging river, right? So they have to have areas where it can disperse. Now, that's something more for the builder and really the property owner, right? If you're going to buy this home, you definitely want water to disperse away from your home, but you also want usable backyard space. And I think this is a unique way of providing something a little bit more usable down at the bottom of the property line so that you can just hang out around a fire pit. And I thought that was a cool upgrade. But so many of my clients tell me they want their backyard space to be usable and they want it to be big, right? Everybody wants a big backyard. Well, at the time I'm recording this video, I found a lot that was available, and I'm going to show it to you right here. Now, this is a lot on a cul-de-sac, and that's me saying hello. And I want to show it to you because at the time I'm recording this video, having a lot like this available that you can build from scratch, that's in a private cul-de-sac, meaning the lots on the other side, there are no lots. It's too steep of a drop off, so you get a lot of great privacy back here. You do have 214, a highway that we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the back, but I think what you get here is some privacy with that wrought iron fence, and then the homes that are all the way in the back left that I'll show here. Those homes are in a different community. That's a 1 acre lot community, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Back to the video. Okay, so you got one lot. I'm going to show you another lot later on. We're going to show you also that home for sale that's coming up, so you get an idea of what pricing looks like for these different square footage homes. And then I'll also show you some of my clients' home that built from scratch with Tri Pointe while we head over to the primary bedroom and bathroom, which opens up really well. Oh, by the way, I like this counter perfect for a coffee pot or something to kind of hide some appliances in that main living area. I also want to give you another look at these contemporary cabinets. My client who actually just closed a month or two ago had these great contemporary cabinets. I think they came out really well. If you're looking for that modern, clean-cut look, I think they really hit in kitchens. And I also think this primary bedroom accent wall also hits. And by the way, all my clients who reach out to me through YouTube love making fun of my vernacular. Like I've had clients when I use that word hit, and it's something that comes to mind when I think of these things. And my client, I remember, walked through a home with me and they said, "Does this hit, Raj?" And they started laughing, and I get always a good kick out of it too. Now, I want to address a few things. I'm going to address that dirt mound in a second, but I also realized I never introduced myself. So my name is Raj Sahu. I'm a realtor in Austin, Texas, and I've represented clients with 21 different builders, and 98% of my clients came in from YouTube. Which is unbelievable. I started posting on YouTube about 4 years ago. I didn't actually think that many people would reach out to me, and then I was shocked when people started reaching out to me, and what made me great, I think, at trying to get content out there of great homes is I received excellent feedback from clients. Obviously went through the build process with so many builders. I'm pretty much negotiating with each builder on a weekly basis now, and have a team of realtor partners that I work with that really, our team helps all of our clients who reach out to us, and it's been an amazing process. And also, when I get out to these communities, like this is a new model home, I get to learn a lot of new things that are happening. So one of the things that I've been tracking, and I track this in all communities, is what are the size lots that are going to be built in these communities? Because the size of the lot is going to dictate the square footage home that you can build on in these different neighborhoods. Now, why that's important is if you have a lot of smaller lots where you can only build 1,500, 2,000 square feet, maybe upwards of 2,500 square feet. The tough part about a lot of those communities is they become rental heavy, right? A lot of those homes that are around a square footage, let's call it like 2,300 square feet and under, then a lot of those homes have a decent price to rent ratio. Once you get over 23 or 2,500 square feet, definitely over 3,000 square feet, the price to rent ratio becomes very poor. So for investors, it just doesn't make any sense to buy homes that big and rent them out. And so the good news is if you are surrounded by a lot of lots where people are building 3,000, 4,000, even over 4,000 square foot homes, that is great for not only your livability, because people tend to buy those homes and stay long term. So those communities that have a lot of forever homes do not feel transitory. There's not renters constantly going in and out. And then for future resale value, a lot of the communities that do really well, they tend to have a lot of forever homes in the community. Now, my whole point of sharing that with you is as we get back out to the primary bedroom, you see that huge mound in the back? They're going to be putting more homes back there, and they're going to be on larger lots, like 70-foot wide lots. Even 80-foot wide lots are now getting announced, and there are a lot of builders now that are getting into Lariat. This community started with around 4 builders, but by the end of this year that I'm posting this, we're going to be up to about 7 builders in the community. And one of those builders on those 80-foot wide lots is already announced that they're going to be building upwards of about 4,600 square feet. But I still even have to check structural upgrades on some of those plans to maybe add square footage to those plans. And that is great when you're buying in at these 3,000, 3,500 square feet. When you're the most expensive home in the neighborhood and you're the biggest home in the neighborhood, that is not great for future resale value, because your price of your home constantly needs to battle against the ceiling on prices in the community, and that makes it difficult. So that's why I always recommend for people, if you want to buy in some of these areas, make sure you're not buying at the top of the market in terms of price point. Make sure you're buying something a little bit more middle of the ground. That tends to do a lot better, especially if you're concerned about reselling your home. Now, this is a big concern for a lot of my clients. They want a second bedroom down for their parents staying with them, and that's why I got down to my knees and looked all the way at the ground to show you the lip that's on here. So what a lot of my clients are very concerned about is if this is a bathtub and they have parents going in and out, obviously the big concern is them slipping and falling or tripping on their way in or on their way out, right? It's always the biggest hazard when you think of somebody elderly, and I want to talk about that in a second. So that's why I showed this is an acrylic pan. It still has a little bit of a lip. But if you don't want much of a lip at all, then usually you should do a mud set shower where they dig into the concrete, and so you can actually put tile on that floor for the shower, and then you actually walk down into the shower. Also, you can do a frameless glass shower. Usually that removes any sort of lip that's at the base of that tile. Now, anytime I talk about that second bedroom down, I do think about my parents, because, this is something that really is top of mind with my wife and I. As we look at the powder bathroom, I'll just share something. My wife and I are looking at our forever home. So we're looking at homes that we just need more square footage. We have a 3-year-old girl at home. We have a 1-year-old boy, and we're so blessed to have 2 kids. And we definitely have our hands full with them, but we've lost a lot of space, right? If you have kids, they just take over. And by the way, when I think of our kids, I think of rooms like this. Like, this is a wallpaper in a closet that goes underneath the stairwell. I thought this was such a cool space. I want to give you some cool looks at this Willie Nelson State Capitol food truck wallpaper. That's Willie Nelson right there. So I thought this was so cool. But going back to that second bedroom down, it's important for our parents to stay with us on the first floor. Now, don't get me wrong. My dad is 78 years old. At the time I'm recording this, if I talk about my mom, I probably won't be able to finish this sentence, but I'll just talk about my dad. He is healthy as a clam. He travels a lot. My mom and dad travel all the time, and they love it. They're really enjoying retirement. And so the idea that my dad can't go up and down the steps is absolutely terrifying to me, but it's one of those difficult conversations my wife and I have to have, because if that time does come up, we want to be the house that they can stay at comfortably, and that we can take care of them. And that is so important to us. So if that's you, I totally relate to it. I'm sure we relate on a lot of levels then. Family's really important to you, and you want to have, everyone comfortable on the first floor. These rooms do make a difference. And the room that we're in also makes a difference. That study and that work from home element is so popular even today. I've had a lot of tech companies that I've heard announce, like Amazon, where you got to come back to the office, or Google announced the other day. And so some of these companies are announcing the work from home is almost over, and you see that a lot in the news. But I still have a ton of people calling me saying that they still work from home, that it wasn't their department, or it wasn't their team, or it wasn't their something, and they still work from home, and they don't ever see themselves going back to the office for any reason. And I want to talk a little bit further about that and why this community attracts a lot of those types of people that work from home. Also, that one concern that I told you about that our clients had before they decided to build out here. But real quick, this is the game room. I love how they did an accent wall. Just a different color that's calming up here is great. You tend to not spend much time in the game room in the morning. You spend it usually later in the day or at night, especially if you have kids. The kids are going down to sleep before they go in for bath time, or at least that's how we do it. Bath time right beforehand is in the game room. We're trying to calm our kids down. I think it's nice to have that darker color just to make things look very calm, and it's still very light and bright here because of that stairwell and that window to the right of us that's bringing in a lot of great natural light. A lot of great windows in that game room too. Now, while we look at the rest of the second floor, which has a couple of bedrooms, a full bathroom that we'll see, what I wanted to talk about was the concern that my clients had when moving onto this area. When you look at Lariat compared to other communities in Liberty Hill, is at the time I'm recording this, it tends to be deeper into Liberty Hill than most people want to be in. And when I say deep, you have to take 29 all the way through a couple of stoplights, and then you eventually get to this turn where you take a turn after those stoplights to get to this community of Lariat. Now, right now during rush hour, those stoplights can be pretty annoying, right? You have to wait sometimes to get through those stoplights. But here's the change that has a lot of people excited about this community, and that is the announcement that 214, the highway that leads into this community, is eventually going to go out of this community and connect in with 183. Now, I'm always supposed to give a source for that information because that's major information of a highway getting connected in. But I want to show you this cool tile, and then I want to show you wilcotx.gov. That is Williamson County, the place that we're located in. And you see that green line that I circled, that is the extension of 214. At the time I'm recording this video on that website, they said that that should be completed sometime in 2026. But as always, that is subject to change, and that's just based on their announcement. But I will say that is very, very exciting, because for a lot of people, even if you work from home, you're not really concerned about your work commute, because your work commute is to your desk in your study. You still want to get around the city, right? People come in to Austin for the vibe. They want to be around the metro to experience different things, hiking, biking, outdoors, parks. There's so many fun events. It's a very lively, active city. So it's important to get around. And 183 is that way that you can get around. In fact, right outside this window is that main road of 214, which leads into this community. So if you take a left on that road, that will take you down to 29. That's where those stoplights were. But eventually that 214, if you take a right, it goes through the community and eventually will connect in with 183. Now, proximity to highways is important, especially here in Texas. Our highways are gigantic, so you can get around the city, but also on-site amenities and on-site schools are really important. And that's exactly what Lariat has. They're in the sought-after Liberty Hill ISD. They have a resort-style pool, event lawn, splash pad, community pavilion, and so many great amenities that are in this community. And like I mentioned, there are more builders even coming soon that are going to be building larger homes than this. And I really feel like this is shaping up as a great forever home community. Now, if you're wondering what pricing looks like and what a home looks like that's actually for sale, then stick with me. We got one right here. Now, this is the Bryker plan. Now, I'm going to show you this home in detail, but if you want plans that are brand new to Tri Pointe, like the Windsor plan right there, or the Rosedale plan, or even the Enfield plan, which is down the street, reach out to me. If I don't have these videos on my YouTube publicly facing, I usually have a video that's private just because I'm sending it to clients only. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to get those videos to you before I eventually make them public months down the road. Now, the Bryker plan is around 3,700 square feet. It has 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. And I think what's so unique about this plan is it has this massive living room with a combined dining area and this large kitchen island that opens up to that main living area. As you'll see here, they did 2-tone kitchen cabinets with that dark color around the kitchen island, and then light exterior cabinets along with a light countertop and backsplash. This is the contrast that I have a lot of clients tell me they want in their kitchen. Also, complementing that dark kitchen island is a dark grout color on the kitchen backsplash, which even goes over the cabinets. And then we have dark cabinet hardware and a dark faucet and some things to complement the dark kitchen island, which I think is really the focal point in this plan. Now, this home is 3,700 square feet, like I mentioned before. It's got a media room upstairs. It has a extra covered patio. So I'm going to talk about that extended covered patio and some of the upgrades in this plan. But I think really what stands out is this bump out in the ceiling height in this living room. And again, the size of this living room. Now, if you're having a tough time visualizing this space, let me know. I usually have pictures that show staging, whether it's virtual staging or something that can showcase what this home looks like with furniture in it. But as you can tell, for this home that is for sale under $650,000, they already have electrical up on the wall, perfect for a TV. You got the kitchen right off your right shoulder. If you're sitting down here, we got built-in appliances, which I'm going to show in a second, along with a pantry back there. But I have to start with this living room because this is what my clients tell me they want. Lots of windows off their back wall and a large main living area where they spend the bulk of their time. Also, for a lot of my clients that tell me they don't want a formal dining area, they want that space combined with the living room, then this is a great plan for combining those two spaces, because this is going to be the dining area right here. If you wanted to make it feel a little bit more of a separate dining area, you could easily put a chandelier in the middle of those 4 lights. You could also make this into an accent wall or do some furniture piece, like some sort of cabinetry in that area to make this space feel a little unique. But what I love about this plan is this upgrade option for the sliding glass door going out to the covered patio. This is what my clients tell me they really want. They're going to move to the Austin Metro to spend time outdoors. And that really means just spending time on their outdoor patio. Maybe occasionally enjoying some food out here, maybe doing some grilling, and just enjoying that backyard space.
Now, for this specific lot, the backyard is not very large, but if you want to build this plan from scratch, there are plenty of lots like the ones that I showed you earlier that you could build on that are much bigger. But for this community, with the amenities that I've already mentioned, that you have a lot of amenities that people strive to have around their house right down the street in a lot of these homes that are built in Lariat.
Hey, real quick, I'm always looking for great lots for my clients to build on, and I found quite a few in this area, and there's so many lots now in Lariat, some that are even coming soon. But I love these lots that back up to mature trees, and that's what a lot of my clients tell me they love. And so if you want a bigger backyard than what you're seeing now, and you want a great view, then reach out to me. My number's at the bottom of the description of this video.
Now, that is the main road out there, 214. We've talked about that before, about that main road potentially getting connected with 183. So you do, for this specific home, have a little bit more noise back there with that 214. But again, if you really value privacy, you want something less noisy, there are plenty of lots on that you can build with Tri Pointe. Now, I completely skipped over the pantry area, but I'll show that to you here. I'll also show you there's some built-in appliances. That's a space for a refrigerator. And then we get some fairly good pantry space that's in here. And when I say fairly good, you have a lot of space here underneath the stairwell. So this goes all the way around the corner. And as you saw earlier, you could just do that Willie Nelson, the state capitol wallpaper if you wanted to do something there. And then you get a coat closet here. And that's because that's going to be an entrance to a garage, which I'll show in a second. And this is the best part about this, these plans. They're brand new for me too, so I love touring these plans to get educated on what's out there, and I find when I record these plans, it makes me a better realtor because I know these plans then inside and out. Like for this one, for a lot of my clients that want the utility room right next to the primary closet, then there might be a better plan with Tri Pointe like the one that we just saw that gets you that. But if you don't really care, then you have the utility room there, you have a powder bathroom here, you get a mud bench right here in this home. And by the way, these are some of the upgrades that you can do at the design studio. Some of them are structural, and I'll talk about that in a second. Here we have a 3-car tandem garage. So tandem just means this is the tandem space that's back here. That's usually a water softener loop, that black hole that protrudes out from the wall. But this is what I love. For a lot of my clients, they tell me they want to come back to a home where the common area just feels wide open. And that's why I'm touring this plan. I thought it was interesting when I saw this as a 2D floor plan. I would say that this living room is one of the best living rooms that I've seen. What I would tell you for some of my clients that want a grand entrance, I don't know if this has as much of a grand entrance just because the stairwell is hidden in the corner here. And then that is your entrance. Now, if you don't really care much about that, then I think this is a good plan for the living room. And then also from a design standpoint, if you wanted to make this kitchen feel very grand, you could do upper cabinets, especially where the ceiling height is high up here. But I think this kitchen still stands out, especially with that kitchen island size and some of the design upgrades that they put in there. But this is all a give and take. As we get into the primary bedroom, I'll talk about that give and take. When you get more of what you want and you build from scratch, that tends to be a little bit more reflective in your pricing. When you're building from scratch, you're not always going to get the best deal and a very low interest rate that's locked in from the builder. You're going to be able to pick all your upgrades, a lot of your structural and design upgrades, which I'll talk about in a second. But you're not going to get a motivated builder that has to sell a to-be-built lot, right? Usually there's not as much of a sense of urgency on to-be-builts. But on a home maybe like this, or homes that are close to completion or completed and just sitting, obviously sellers have more of a motivation to sell those homes and get a buyer in, because every month that goes by, that's money that's not in their pockets, and also there's a cost that's associated withholding these properties like taxes and insurance. And so for that reason, if you're looking for best pricing, best deal, it tends to be in some of these inventory homes. But if you're going to take a great price, what you're going to give up is your ability to pick a lot of these upgrades. Like for a lot of my clients, even ones that are building from scratch and thinking about picking, doing some things after closing, I always tell them for tile, that's the worst that you could do because tile tends up to rip up the drywall that's behind it. And so it tends to be very costly if you're trying to redo tile after closing. But after closing, what a lot of my clients are doing is they're doing accent walls where they do like a wainscoting on the wall, or they put in a wallpaper, or they put some sort of wooden element that's painted off of a dining room wall, a study wall, or I just had a client do it in their living room where they have 20-foot tall ceilings, and they did this beautiful accent that goes all the way up from the fireplace up to the ceiling. And by the way, I got a lot of videos of these examples. So if you're looking to build from scratch, like my client did with Tri Pointe in this community called Lariat, then I can give you so many examples of what that looks like. Now, after closing, what I have some clients do is even flooring. So flooring, believe it or not, is not one of those, it's just purely cosmetic. When you rip up the flooring, the demo on that maybe takes a day or two, maybe even less, probably just one day, depending on what flooring they're ripping up. Tile, again, is a little bit more annoying to rip up, but in most cases, tile with these builders is only in wet areas. And by the way, this is the study. This is where I was talking about, like my clients would do usually like an accent wall right here. And I'm telling you, these things make such a big difference in these homes. You can't even recognize some of these homes after you do some different design elements that are here. But getting back to ripping up flooring, I know it sounds strange to build a brand new home and then rip up the flooring and then have somebody else put in brand new flooring after closing. But this is what some of my clients do when they want an engineered hardwood or something that might carry a premium with a builder. Now, with that being said, I've been at 15 plus different design studios, represented clients with 21 different builders, which I mentioned before. So I can tell you some builders, their hardwood is actually pretty reasonably priced, but others, I'll tell you, you'll pay a premium for that engineered hardwood. And that's when some of my clients entertain doing that after closing. And after closing, I just had a client that built right around this square footage, about 3,700 square feet, maybe a little bit over that. And they were able to get the flooring done in 5 days after closing. And that was after they closed with a builder. Now, that is what you end up giving up. If you want to do some things after closing, you can. And I have clients doing that even if you build from scratch. But for a lot of these things like cabinets, countertops, tile, probably not something you're ripping out. And for some of these inventory homes, if you don't like the design elements of some of these homes, that can be very costly to rip out after closing, to the point where it doesn't even make sense in a lot of cases, right? You probably just want to build from scratch rather than go through that headache of doing that yourself, or buying a low-priced home just to do all these things after closing. You end up spending a lot of money anyway. But what you saw there is what most buyers want in this market that are buying in the high 3,000s for square footage. They want a study downstairs. They want 2 bedrooms downstairs. Like I mentioned before, a lot of people have parents staying with them, and it's important for their parents to stay there on the first floor. But it's also important that when you have a lot of people, maybe you have kids, maybe you have parents staying with you, maybe you have both, it's important to not feel like you're living on top of each other, right? I think that's why a lot of people are moving to Texas. They want more space. And as you can see here in this Bryker plan, we got plenty of space. We also have plenty of windows, which is great. When there's not a home maybe right next to you, obviously this will bring in a lot of natural light, but I believe there will be eventually a home right next to this one. But I think if you have a corner lot that has a view, which there's plenty of lots here in this community, like I just toured that lot, that's the cul-de-sac lot that I was on earlier. So for that lot, if you switch this floor plan where the windows are looking off that side, that could be a really interesting option if that's possible. Sometimes you can choose how the home is oriented, meaning the garage can be on the left or it can be on the right, and those windows are really interesting. What's also interesting are the structural upgrades that are in this plan. So downstairs, I mentioned the covered patio is going to be one of those structural upgrades. Structural upgrade just means that you have to choose that upgrade as soon as you contract on a lot if you are building from scratch. So these are some of the things that I go through with my clients, a really game plan of what they want, what's going to be within their budget, but then also like what's good for resale value, right? And I would say this is one of those things that's starting to be debatable. Media room. A lot of people want this media room for the theater experience. And you can see that here with the caps on the wall, which is pre-wiring that was already done in this media room, pre-wiring for speakers. You also have that for a projector, that outlet, as well as wires that fish all the way down right there. What I'm starting to hear in media rooms is how much do you actually use the media room? And this has been a very polarizing topic. Some people absolutely love their media room, their theater experience, they love it. Some people do gaming in their theater room. Some people use it as a hangout area for their kids because their kids, when they are in the game room, they hear them downstairs. By the way, I don't think you have that in this plan, where this plan, the game room is much more private. But for other plans that are much more open concept to the point where the game room is right looking down at the living room, that's where I think a media room is useful, right? But for this plan, you let me know what you think. Would you value that media room, that theater experience or not? And then as you can tell, when I keep talking about building from scratch, all this dirt that you see there, even the dirt all the way in the distance that was behind the model home that we just walked, these are all lots that you can build on. And this is the best part about building from scratch. If you want to get more of what you want, there's usually a lot of opportunities to do that, especially in communities like this, like Lariat. Getting back to the home here, we have 2 bedrooms upstairs. We have a full bathroom right here that is suite. They did the tile going all the way up to the ceiling. Usually don't see that on inventory homes. And by the way, this ends up being a Jack and Jill full bathroom that is accessible from the hallway. So if you're confused, this is going to be the game room. That was the media room all the way down there next to the stairwell. And then we just went in through that bedroom on this side. And then it has a Jack and Jill full bathroom here that's accessible from the hallway. That way, guests, if they need to go into a bathroom, they don't need to walk into a bedroom to access that bathroom. They can just use that Jack and Jill. And then we have another bedroom here. And then we have lots that I showed you earlier that are down there. So these are some of the interior lots that back up to neighbors, like you'd be backing up to neighbors here. If you don't mind that, then I think, in most cases, usually those don't carry much of a lot premium, or if any. And lot premium is definitely a big factor. A lot of my clients that want views, in some of these communities, the view lots carry a $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 lot premium in some cases, because the lot is spectacular. It's got an amazing view. And so that usually comes with a price tag. If you don't really care much about it, or even if you want a little bit more privacy just in terms of sight, like you don't mind hearing your neighbors, what I always tell people is put money into landscaping, right? You can put landscaping back there and make this backdrop look completely different. Obviously, this is a bad example where this specific home has great landscaping behind it because it's got privacy other than 214 in the back. But there are numerous examples I can give you of landscaping put in my client's property, like within their yard, that give them this great greenery behind them, even though there are homes right behind them.
Now, for my client who closed here in Lariat, you're seeing their living room, which is open to the second story. And this is exactly what I mentioned before. We have those great windows in these plans with Tri Pointe. Now, this is actually the Reimer plan built by Tri Pointe Homes. And for my client, they didn't have any neighbors behind them. They just have this amazing view because they were this corner lot that backed up to a detention pond. and so they have that great view of the hillside. But I think what they loved most about building with Tri Pointe were the options that they were able to select. Like, take a look at their kitchen, where they did the waterfall kitchen countertops. They did a fun backsplash going all the way up to the ceiling, and then they even hung their own pendant lights and chandeliers in the dining room as well as in their stairwell. They have a beautiful chandelier there, and they were able to do so many fun things, some with the builder and some with after closing. Now, this is exactly what we walk through with our clients when they're trying to debate where they should be spending their money, where they should be putting their budget. Is it with the builder? Is it with certain upgrades? Is it structural? Is it design? Is it with the lot? What is it, right? There's so many things to evaluate, and that's where we build out Excel sheets. We also build out a software through a software platform called Trello, a buyer board where we compare all your options, and then we're able to give you an unbiased opinion on what we think your best options are. And sometimes that's with builders, with resales. There's all sorts of options that are out there, and we're able to lay those all out for you. So at your fingertips, you know what your pros are for each option, but you also know what your cons are. And we've been able to do that with dozens and dozens of our clients. So if you're looking at the Austin metro area, you want to know what your options are, want to know what final pricing looks like with some of these builders, reach out to me. My number's at the bottom of the description of this video. If you want more information on what's available here in the Austin metro area, you want just more information on the process to buy a home, go ahead and click on my website at the top of the description of this video. And then if you want to see another home built by one of my clients that is one of those forever homes I was talking to you about, then check out this home on the left side of your screen. And as always, I hope this helps. Take care, everyone.